thank you. We bless you for this time, this space that you've given us. And we ask that you be the unseen guest among us on this afternoon and cause our time to be productive and progressive. We ask that you bless all our city officials and continue to bless the city of Waycross. Extend your favor and your grace heavily upon this area, that we'll be exemplary as it relates to community, camaraderie, and unity. It's in the strong name of Jesus that we do pray. All God's people said, amen.
Amen. And I would just like to welcome everyone that's here and those who may be watching. I want to do this because sometimes community feel like they're separate from city government. And I like to bring it to the people. So you have the opportunity to, first of all, meet department heads, to understand what the city vision is, what we want to do, and things we're doing to make your lives better. First of all, I want to encourage everyone to get involved in the government. Come to meetings so you understand what's going on. And I'm going to say this too. I'm only as strong as you are. I'm only as strong as support you give me and you give the city. I need to understand what you need and what you want. You have to tell me. And this is an opportunity to you to express what you feel, what you want, what you're not pleased with, so we can look at are there better ways to do it? Are we doing it the best way so you understand what's going on? So I'm excited to be here, and I'm going to ask each department head is here to introduce themselves to you. They'll stand and introduce themselves, and we'll start with the city manager, if you would.
So they can see you.
Good afternoon. I'm Duke Griffin, your city manager. I'm ready to listen on how long we got. We'll take all day.
Good afternoon, I'm Jim Blackman, I'm the city fire chief. And of course, the fire department's always here to help us whatever we can to help in the
I would
community.
think so. So any questions? They probably need to sit once they get
Colin Cox, police chief, and served with the community 33 years, grew up right over here on Marion Street, so it's a part of my little neighborhood. Appreciate y'all coming.
Mark Hawkins, Community Improvement Director for the City of Waycross. Lee Strickland, I'm the Public Works Superintendent. What's your name? Lee Strickland.
Patrick Simmons, Business Integration and Information Systems Director.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here today, for taking time out. Would you like to introduce yourself? Yes.
Is that my reward coming in late?
It's about 15-minute speech.
Okay. I'm Greg Smith. I'm the finance director for the city. Glad to be here.
As I said, I just think this gentleman took time out of his schedule to come out and hear what you have to say, hear what your feelings are, what your concerns are. I want to encourage you, though, that things like what's going in the community as far as the blight and stuff, the city can only do so much. Our funds are so far, and some things the community is going to have to learn to get up and do some things ourselves. We'll supply what we can to help you as much as we can, but some things like the trash is in your neighbor yard, we can't do anything about it. The old cars in your neighbor yard, we can't do anything about it. The person that has the garage on a city street, we can't do anything about it, and it goes on and on and on. So that's why I said we need your help, your participation, and I desire to revive Partnership with Neighborhoods. And for those who don't know what Partnership with Neighborhoods was, it's an organization that was a nonprofit, no funding, where every community in the city of Waycross worked together for the good of all. Understood that maybe the Cherokee Heights area, they really wanted to plant flowers. So we all went over to Cherokee Heights and planted flowers when it was time to plant flowers. The ones that needed houses painted, we went to theirs. Well, no matter what neighborhood you lived in, we all came together to do that. We had an agreement with Walmart to give us all that rent payment, come out of distribution center in Douglas, so I'm gonna see if we can reinitiate that and get some things done to help the community improve themselves. But there's gonna be a question and answer period in a few minutes, but I just wanted to express to you what I desire. Our communities are only strong as we make them. See, we don't want them to be hoods, we want them to be neighborhoods. Amen. Thank y'all for coming. So at this time, I'm going to stop talking, and if you have a question, I'm going to ask you to stand. You need a mic, I'll hand you a mic. If you heard, that's fine. Does anyone have any concerns, questions? Yes.
Good morning, everybody. Doing all here. My name is Johnny Lockie Jr. My wife Beatrice, my daughter Samantha, and we reside there on 1028 McDonald Street in City of Waycross. She's been here for 71 years, 72 years on McDonald Street. I've been there for 25 years, married to her. So I put my hand on the gold mine, Pastor, and I enjoyed it. And with the help of some of you guys, I appreciate it. And mostly I appreciate the attitude that I got from you guys when I was working with y'all. I didn't get a feedback, oh, you need to just go somewhere and just sit down. No, y'all work with me. And y'all know the work that I do is speaks for me. We have a few people there that look over me, but I thank God for them because I want them to lift themselves up and come a part of Waycross. And I love all you military guys. Oh man, y'all done a great job, and y'all doing a great job. I don't have no complaints, but I do have a few things that I need to bring attention to. And one is, I don't know how often when they cut the limbs back on city property, they're behind between me and Mike Body Shop. Because when the garbage truck picks up my garbage, or when you gotta pick up the trash, you hit that limb. And when them 18 wheelers come through there, it's just snagging them trees. And it's really scary because one time they snatched the lines down. And I don't know whether McDonald Street is for 18 wheelers or what, but you know, everybody trying to get to Food Line parking lot to disconnect them all. And you know, just come out and look at it. I'm not saying you can do something right now, it might be the next 6 months, but just come out and look at it and see what kind of problem that we are having. My next problem is Pasadena Drive, McDonald Street. We have almost been in 4 wrecks right there by Yogi Stove. And it's not that Mike not following procedure, but his vehicle is sticking too far out on the road where you can't see when you're coming down, especially when you're turning. And I try not to say too much to him because I got my head chewed off a while back, but I love him anyway. So I just try to go the other way until my daughter will go the other way to keep from getting hit out there on State Street. Okay, next is trash. The guy that owned the property next to me is Pugh. And everybody know his wife, Mildred Thomas Pugh. And I've been keeping that property clean for them for, oh my God, over 30 years. Cut it, and he told me just pile it up out there on the front and everything. I keep it mowed. I got it lawnmower mowed because it was this house when I married my wife. You should have seen the rats, the snakes, and I'm still catching possums and coons in my traps now. And where they're coming from, I couldn't tell you. So that it's not a big issue, but you know, if we can get some of the trash moved out from around that, cleaned up, that's part of the cleaning of the city because it's right over Pasadena Drive. Next, our sweeper. How often do they run?
The sweepers run, they're supposed to be on. The sweepers are supposed to run on a route. They have 4 zones and they work through the zones one at a time. One's like zone 1 for 1 week, zone 2 the next week.
Right.
You're in zone 1 So-
Two.
It's on two, that's correct, yeah. Well, with the sweepers being down currently, they've actually been down for, I believe, 3 months, and they just got it fixed last Wednesday. So hopefully by next week it'll start back running, but it should be a week or so, they'll be around to that area.
Okay, appreciate that. Okay, now, it's not an issue to some people, but it's an issue to me and my wife and my daughter. And it's now might become a health issue. Overspray for the last 4 to 5 years is swollen my, I can't even get out in the yard unless I'm inhaling that overspray. We have talked to them, I have called the police out there, and I let them go over there and talk with him. Not to make him mad, not trying to shut him down, no, because that's the kind of person I am. You need your job. Because when I worked at the railroad, I'm gonna tell you something. Everybody in here just about knew what the railroad went through. When they was spraying that overspray, they shut the whole railroad down because of that overspray. Okay,
I'm not understanding, so the overspray is, who's doing the overspray?
that overspray from the paint shop. Well, you know, I don't like calling names, you know, because I don't want nobody running back. And then he thought, well, you know, I don't like people threatening me. Because I go in my house and lock my door and close my gate, tell my wife, it's just like a cage to me. I ain't got to come out the door at all. But I don't want people talking about, well, you know, he just talking about you trying to, no, I just said, I'm not trying to shut nobody down. All I wanted, someone to check into it, because here lately, my wife been biting to the doctor. And it looked like when we got in the yard and she started inhaling that spray just like I am, I can't breathe, I can't holler, sleep at night, and my wife had these nightmares. I don't know where it's coming from that or what, because we are now going to some specialists. And I pray to God that those specialists don't say that she got lead in her system. Because you would want it in your neighborhood. Nobody else would want it in there. The only thing to do is make sure your filters is right. That's all it takes. See, I worked at a railroad 40 years, and that's what I worked around. I was on the environmental. And we made sure that that paint don't go outside that shop. And you know, like I say, it's getting to be my everyday thing now. And I got pictures and everything, and the paint outside is not good. It's not good. Now, I done tried to talk to them, but they won't listen to me, so maybe the city manager or somebody decent to go to them and talk. I'm not gonna send the police back over there, because I don't even think that I'm trying to harass them. But somebody, that can talk, or maybe, the city commissioner go and say, well, Mike, you know, it's not a big complaint, but let's try to do something about it, because inhaling that stuff every day, what's gonna happen? It's gonna take effect. And I'm telling you, I'll be 73 this year, and I only got mild problems. I don't want major problems. And especially coming from overspray. And look, if you look at my vehicles, oh my God, my van, my Lincoln, my daughter's car, my limousine, killed on that overspray. But I'll never go to him and tell him. So if anybody can tell me anything, just tell me. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna answer this briefly. I know that's some more questions. I'm gonna just say a few things, and then in some cases, I'm gonna tell the staff to just follow up with individuals. We don't want to dominate the conversation.
Right.
So, but with the limbs, so this is the broader context. When people say we're not doing certain things, we're not always gonna know, and it's almost impossible to know what's right next to you and what's right next to them. So I just asked, and we have the app out there. I know everybody sees technology different, but it's a fairly simple app. If we could just get more residents to just use it, because it's geotagged, it'll take a picture of the issue and then back there the same day. But if you call them, and sometimes somebody's by the phone, sometimes they're not by the phone, to be honest.
Right.
Same thing with the commissioner. I mean, some of them have day jobs, some of them don't. But big picture, if I could just, and maybe we gotta do a tutorial again on how to use the app, cause it's like, it's just taking a picture.
I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we all with you.
But this'll solve some of your issues, and you can be anonymous, you know, by doing it that way, nobody knows it's gonna write to us, and we'll take care of it. So that's one thing, I'm gonna just say that. Ozzie Davis with Down Street. Now, the whole Ozzie Davis is just structurally wrong as far as the width and the length, that's a whole other conversation. But that particular intersection, if people would just use the obey the stoplights, we will have accidents there. I'm not to be honest with you. I've been sitting there, and I've watched accidents twice since the going forward as I was sitting there and watch cars just drive out with a red light. I know it's difficult to see, but you gotta, and this is another caution, you have to pay attention to the light. I know we got some other areas I see that's talking about, Lee out here, about the bushes over there. But if people just use the lights and the stop signs, no, all that's irrelevant. I'm not trying to dismiss it. We'll try to do what we do. But we can just figure out a way, everybody would just start obeying traffic lights. Traffic lights, traffic signs, police,
Yes.
and that's the bigger problem. So these, I'm not calling them little problems, but these accidents, and they can be prevented.
Yeah.
And we as a community, we gotta just all slow down too. I mean, that light changes every 14 seconds between McDonald's and Davis. You'll get to when you're going 15 seconds later. And I don't understand that. I mean, why we have to rush through that light. But I don't wanna,
No, you're right.
Beat the horse. With with the trash, same thing with the app. And then you got the superintendent here, he'll look at that next week, and we'll go back and address that. But again, if you don't wanna be known, just throw on the app, and then we'll come handle it, and then we'll know, we said what, with the sweeper, and this is a bigger conversation, and I'm gonna say a little bit about this because I just came from the training, this past week, and, we're talking about taxes. And we try our best, Mr. Simmons' team, and the finance director, to put out where your tax dollars go. Cause I don't believe the majority of the residents understand how we pay for stuff. Like, I just don't think we do. Cause we have a lot of, assumptions, and I know you get frustrated because.
Oh, no.
No, I mean, it's okay to get frustrated.
I got I'm patient. Just like Joe.
Always, but, so I mean, frustrating sometimes is not truly understanding what a delay is, or why we don't have certain equipment. And I'm not gonna go back too far in the past, but you know, the commission previous, they had to make difficult decisions, and one of those decisions was made, we decided to focus on one thing and not necessarily our equipment fleet. So now we're way behind on our fleet. Y'all hear us, those who watch the meetings, we're trying to catch up. Police vehicles don't last that long because they're constantly going. Public works trucks were way outdated already, so we slowly build them up with your SPOS dollars. So that's part of your tax that come in, they would pay for vehicles, but it does take some time. And then we just keep using stuff it just breaks to the point we can't repair it, and we're still trying to use it. But we did purchase another sweeper, the commission voted on that, and we're purchasing that now. But with the sweepers, and this is something I got to figure out, there's some kind of unofficial agreement with GDOT that we do their main streets first, but their state streets first. I don't particularly like that, because I'm starting to believe they could be doing that, you know. So I do reach out to GDOT, that's a long conversation about how that response is. But I am trying to focus on communicating with them about, we have other priorities, we can't just continue to do their roads. Because there's no way right now, even with two sweepers, we might have two sweepers when we repair the other two with the new one.
Too large.
Yeah, it's too large to do, and then it will be part of the community will figure like they would be y'all neglecting us, and then we back into that same mode of the have and have not.
Right.
So in those situations, we just choose we do the state streets because everybody uses the state streets. Not a ideal situational solution, but it's a reality. So we got to figure that out. I'm going quick, and I'm not texting when y'all talking. I'm writing down stuff. I didn't bring the pen with me, and the overspray, and this is something too we need to talk about. Right now, the commission, they're revising the charter, and they were doing that at the retreat. The staff's getting recommendations, so they're redoing some of the codes. I know everybody on code can be a bad word about it,
Right.
but that's probably something that, and Marcus relates to a little bit, that when you look at.
No, it's not trying to pull nobody down, it's just,
No, it's not, but
you got filters put them in, don't be scared about it.
Well, not just that, but so we got commercial and residential right on top of each other. And anywhere else you go, there's a space between that. Like when I first got here, it was hard to understand how we got residential stuff right up where everything's packed together. It's just hard to, those two big plants, the asphalt plants. You know, I know they do a lot of, he said they bring a lot of unwanted stuff too. You know, they shouldn't be that close to the residential area, so it's a lot to that too. But that's something I would tell you, like right now, if you give drug commissions, anything you see, because that's actually a code situation, we might have to make up an ordinance to, you know, encourage, motivate, push them to follow proper procedure. That's a simple fix. I'm not saying it here, but that's a simple fix. So there's no paint overspray. That's like a simple fix. And we might should know about this already. I'm glad you said the thing I never knew.
Well, yeah, almost something up because this been going on since last year, whenever the other one was on. And
I didn't know, so we know now.
I know.
Yeah, we know now. So we're gonna look at that. But again, this is why it's so important to like take your commissions about stuff like that, so they can take it back and change. Because some of the stuff is the fact that our code is outdated. I've said that numerous times. Our charter is a little bit outdated. We're gonna fix all that stuff. But you know, and we're not coming on no business. But at the same time, it is not our responsibility to, I hate to say this out loud, to make businesses money. It's just not, you know, our responsibility is to provide services to our residents. You know, fire, police, public, all those things. So I would start there, like definitely, we wrote it down now, so you gotta do anything.
Right.
But like I said, the bar picture is communications, and we've been trying, but you know, it's limited participation in our meetings, limited participation online. So we really got to figure out how to, like Commissioner's doing now, to get out here and have these face-to-faces, so we can address your real concern. Because in my mind, I think we're addressing a lot of stuff, but obviously we're not.
Well, like I said, I understood, Pastor Summer, because, you know, he just got in, you know, and some of the rest of them, and all. So they just getting their feet back in, so they got to get them soaked first. And then, but I wasn't complaining about him not knowing what was going on. But these other ones that was in there, they didn't do nothing, just because, well, you in the district, well, I got other things I have to do.
Yeah.
See, that's the, I mean, you done been here 73 years, 72 years, and people keep telling you the same thing over and over. Don't you get tired of it?
We don't look good as you do for 72.
But hey, I'm gonna tell you, as long as you keep going in your life, it's gonna be all right.
I got it. But and I'm gonna let my team say something, but I do understand what you're saying. I guess I go back to the frustration. But and I get it, it's a lot of stuff that could be better.
Right.
But I think what Commissioner was just explaining, like even with the cars parking, you know, it is a parking space out there. And I mean, it's hard to tell them you can't park there. We have a space there, and it's like it's a lot of things, and it goes to the right of ways. And those are some policy changes we could do, and we probably, like I say, we need to do it. Now that person's gonna come back and say, hey, where am I park my car? Because I don't have a place for my driveway, because when I live in this house, you gotta put a driveway. So it's always, it's gonna keep going. So we just gotta figure out what's the workable solution for everybody, you know, and get close as we can to that. More like we want, because it's gonna be some have and have not, but if we get close as we can, I think that's a win. But again, like this is I think the critical component is to just communicate to us. Like I said, I try to be on social media. Every Friday we gotta get around, and we only talk about what you think, 30% of the population here, another 70 not really involved, and then somebody will come up one day really angry about something, and like I've never spoken to you, you've never mentioned this. It might be going on for a decade, but we don't know. You know,
I understand that too, yeah.
But we want to know,
Yeah.
and I don't mind complaints. Make sure we don't mind complaints, criticism, whatever you want to call it. If you got hopefully you got a solution to tell us, but that's our jobs to, you know,
Right.
to respond to it.
It's our job to come to our commissioner, which work our district.
Yes.
We got 6 districts, 5? Okay, every district leader should be able to go around and say, okay, well, here's my people in my district, this is my people in my district. Don't never come in the district and then say, well, I didn't know going on. Like, Pastor here, I never went to you straight and say, look, man, you need to come over here. I did not. I never did that. But I told him that I will be at a meeting whenever you get a chance. Let me know when your meeting is, so I can come explain myself.
Let me say this too, Mr. Locke. So in the meeting, so we do the archives meeting, so
Oh, yeah.
if you can't watch it at 5 and you can't come, please go back and look at it later on, because I'm on, if Commissioner System at the end, it's a really important change coming up that we have got to discuss. We are behind because we haven't been discussing it with property taxes. But we're gonna talk about it in the next couple of meetings now. We really need y'all to be paying attention, so y'all can reach out, beyond, y'all local reps, your state reps, your federal reps, because if not, it's gonna be a drastic change for everybody in a few years, and everybody can ask them what happened. And we're talking about it now. But Ms. Locke, let me let my team, they want to say anything about some of your questions.
So I know we've been out a couple of times to the neighbor and, he'll clean up and move and do some stuff, so we'll go back and check on that. And we'll get with the fire marshal about the paint booth. And then we'll address the cars. We have to go about once a year and address this, and like he doesn't take it well, but we'll do what we gotta do, and
I mean, y'all can be patient, just take your time, but let them know that you're well.
yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
We have gone out multiple times, maybe clean up the boxes around the trash can, move the cars, things like that, the overspray. It just seems to be a recurring thing with this one, so we'll check it out again.
Right. No problem. The overhang of the trees.
Yeah, so, Ms. Strickland took that down, we'll check that out. That's an easy cut. But in the future, if you got a tree hanging or something like, you just like, man, it's been there for like a month, we're gonna do a tutorial on this app at the next meeting, so it might be on the agenda. If y'all can just tune in, and then we'll put it on our page and maybe on the website, and we'll come. I wish we could do it here. Maybe we need to do some face-to-face. We'll look at our schedule, and we'll come back and do some hands-on. That way I can get it, and the next time you walk out the door, you see whatever, you can just jump on that app, scroll to your concern, take a picture, geotag, go right to it, we got it, somebody show up, everybody can be happy.
I think I got 2 on your app, but I got a negative response, but I'm gonna let that bother me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if you don't,
I'm good, yeah.
But if we don't get a response, then of course call the commissioner first.
Yeah, no,
But if you come up to City Hall, just say, I put this in the app. Let me say this, so like a pothole, that's probably like 24 hours. A stray animal, that's probably like 48 hours. Now, if it's a major water leak, it's gonna take some time, because they will come out there and they have to put locates in, gotta see utilities. You might not see none of this. So all you see is a leak still there, you call it in. And we try to make sure we put that out when y'all do call leaks in, because the locate can take depending where it is, up to another month, especially if you're working with GDOT, if you're close to one of them roads, it could be 2 months. So I know y'all looking at like, man, that leak is still there, I called it in, they ain't doing nothing. And that's something we gotta figure out, how to get that communicative, that we got it, we're assessing it, but it's processing there. And I don't know how to do that right now, it's been 3 years and still ain't figured that out. So people can understand that just because you see it, because you don't see it, don't mean it's not being worked. All right. I think I answered everything. Did we miss
I got
anything?
one more question, and I'm gonna sit down. Okay. Georgia Natural Gas, Atlanta Gas. We've been without natural gas for, it was in 2001. Why would they come out and put that natural gas thing right next to my house, just like this? That's dangerous. I've been on total electric ever since 2000, and I'm scared. And, okay.
You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'll check that. So they put the meter right next to your house?
It's right next to my house. When they came out doing the street fixing it, the gas line on, and I told the guy, I said, I'm not on gas. He said, well, my job is to move it from the side of your house and put it in front of you. I said, no, not inside the yard. He put it right there,
We'll check it out.
and it's dangerous.
Okay. Now, is this make sure, because we've been having some confusion. Is it the gas or is it a fiber optic installation? The towers look similar. I mean, like, is it,
My house burnt down because of gas.
okay,
Yes.
Okay.
And we remodeled back in 2005
okay,
and everything. You know, I never went back with gas. I went with total net.
okay.
It's just safety wise.
Understand.
Thank you, Mr. Markey. And I'd like to say to everyone here, I'm gonna pass the card to you before you leave, so you know how to contact me. If you need me. I try my best to stay available. It'll be on the card. Yes.
Good morning. My name is Diane Parker. I have a problem with my water. Since January, I done bought 2 hot water heaters. And every time we take it out, it have that, that calcium in it. And I have another question about the hot water, but this one. If we have a disaster around in this neighborhood or anything, how will we know that it's a disaster? Do we have any horns blowing or something to let older people know that we got a disaster in our area?
Okay, so with the water, if we can get your address before we leave, and we can check that. Let's go back to technology. I hate to keep going back to this. So I think because everybody sees the tower with all the horns on it downtown, that doesn't belong to us. So we don't have access to that. Back to the app. I know everybody want to probably do this, but with our app, and we have an email notification, and we have a text notification. And Mr. Simmons, the biz director, like when something happens, you know, if you're signed up for this, you're gonna get a text, an email, and you know, if you got the app, come to that, but you get a text, email. I'm trying to think of the last thing that happened that they went out. You get a telephone call. It'll tell you this is what happened. I'm trying to think when the last time it went out. Last week.
So we always see something I never do.
But emergency though.
Yeah, I can't remember the last one.
We had a water outage. So every time we have a water outage, like if it's gonna be prolonged, like more than like 30 minutes, and it's gonna affect residents' service, then it goes out, hey, there's gonna be a water outage at 14 and 16, whatever that street is. And if you sign up, you're gonna get that, and you're gonna know. Or if even the police, if they certain things, you know, we can't put out over there, but they gotta, if it's a police presence, and you know, there's a lot of people that want people to come over there and do the hive concept. There's a heavy police presence on 5th Street. You're gonna get a phone call, a text, an email for that. It really works. And again, I think we're going to maybe re-promote it because I don't know, maybe we got signed up for it now, but it really keeps, and we did that for a reason. Definitely the text get you. So you can just, because everybody has their phone, and you just get the little text, and it's very detailed. So I think, again, we might need to just find a way to put this out to everybody. I think what we're going to probably do in April, and I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, April is the month of cleanup. We got a lot of stuff going on. So maybe during that time, I think we got a resource for our veterans. Maybe we do something for preparedness. We was talking about it. Something we can sit down and show all our residents how to prepare for stuff. Information is the main thing, how to get information from the city the fastest, which is going to be the app or sign for the email. It's going to be, because you get a text. You got to do anything, it's going to come right to you. So we'll look at to do that probably in April, because we're going to try to do a lot of events in April. And I just ask y'all, just please sign up. Matter of fact, y'all can sign up today before you walk out of here. And then once you sign up with it, and we'll stay here and do the app too. How about that? We'll stay here and do the app. And then y'all can share it with the rest of y'all residents. And then next time, I think Commissioner got another town hall, 29th of April. Yeah, April. Y'all can come in there and y'all can just, we'll mention it, and then y'all can just take care of the rest of your residents. Because it's easy to do once you download. So that's shoot for that.
And let me say this too. The app is great and the text, but for the seniors, if there's a senior around you that you know is not tech savvy, then take it upon yourself. If I know this on my text, I'm gonna let them know. If you don't mind.
if I may, I mentioned something. So we did send the form out, in all the water bills, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And for the seniors there, that's where they can put in their telephone number, because most of them have a telephone. So they just answer the telephone and just say, hey, this is City of Waycross, there's a hurricane on the way, take shelter. They don't have to do anything other than that. But if they fill that form out, and we'll do it again in April, send that form out to every resident that has a water bill. They can fill it out, send it back to me, I'll enter a report, or they can do it themselves, but we'll do that again.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here. This is like, good for me today just to hear. My name is Carlos White. I've been pastoring in the city for, this is my 18 years. And I heard the city manager speak about taxes, and we've been hearing that for years. So the question I want to ask is, what's the city's long-term vision for growth in our community? And how will the residents be involved in that? I sat in one of the commission meetings one evening some years ago, looked up at the seal, and on the seal it has agriculture, transportation, and industry. And then I looked and seen this today, opportunity in every direction. I remember when it was changed. And so I'm wanting to know, like, how is this going to begin to progress in our community? The opportunities, the industry primarily, so that our young people, the generations that are coming on now, don't want to leave from here so much and plant here and bring their gifts and their talents and the different things that they can offer to this community to empower our community. So what long-term visions do we have?
I'm gonna start now. I'm gonna let y'all say a couple things. I wanna, that's a long answer to this. I gotta be careful, but I will say one thing, and I'm gonna let the two chiefs say, like, even like fire and police, because ideally, more homegrown fire and police. I mean, yes, that just makes everything better, makes it safer, and y'all probably seen us, we have our disagreements on Facebook when I say certain things. When the police are born here, raised here, and then trained here, they don't tend to do stuff you see in other places. They got family here, they got friends here, Same thing with our firemen, they normally stay, and I think we're full right now, but we fluctuate sometimes. I'm starting this conversation here. We have a lot of opportunities here with the city, definitely for fire and police, definitely at the entry level. Now, once they get to a certain point, they might want to go do other things or other organizations, but opportunity, I'm saying, is here. Public works too, but mainly fire and police. So the city has, our main responsibility is providing services, and that's these gentlemen here, they do that every day. That's our primary focus. We're not necessarily part of the growth part. And I know everybody doesn't know that. This goes back into the communication and understanding how we're set up. We have multiple development authority agencies. You have the downtown, you have a downtown development authority, you have a merchant association, you have Waycross County development authority, you have the land bank. You have all the other agencies that are geared to promote Waycross with growth and opportunities. The commissioners select those individuals that own those different bodies of government, if that makes sense. And this is another thing, I'm looking back now, been here 3 years, it happened so fast, I don't think anybody knows what we're doing when we come up there and Commissioner, I forgot who we selected for which board, but just we saying names and nobody's really understanding this person is now responsible for job creation in Waycross. Or this person is now responsible for like the land bank, like getting some of these private properties up and going, or making us more presentable for homeowners. And and being transparent and honest for a while there, we were just picking anybody. I hate to say that, I'm not saying that. We pick people that we trusted, and maybe they weren't necessarily the right person for that job, even though we trust them. I think this time the commissioners did a good job of letting me identify somebody with a background, like a land bank. You need somebody who's worked on homes properly, or who sold homes, or who knows land management, so they can do a better job overall for the city. But with those authorities, this is why y'all can see these conversations. We've been talking so much about live streaming those, cause y'all see the commissions twice a month. Y'all never see the rest of these bodies. They got a chair, they follow Robert Rule. Everything the commissioners do is the same process. People need to see that, so they know. And then you can take your questions to those appropriate agencies. Now, we can answer questions here to a certain degree, but we don't necessarily know, what new industry is coming here all the time. That's the development authority, for the city and the counties combined, and they kind of work that. But we're gonna try this year. That's one direction the new commission gave me is figure out how to put that out there more. And we're gonna try first is to live stream or let you come to the meetings. And we're gonna put information on what it's supposed to be doing so you know that as well. But saying all that, I know I'm talking too much. We do got some industries coming here. I know everybody, when I say hotels and restaurants, everybody don't see it that way. But a restaurant is 40 to 60 jobs, no matter how you look at it, you know. Our other problem though, to answer that, are two colleges here, or tech schools, not college here. A lot of our workforce is not, and I hate to say this, they might be great blue collar workers, and like I argue with somebody all the time. He can plumb a house, he can run wire electric, but he's not certified. He got no certificate on that. So technically, you can't do anything, and that's the problem with Mr. Hawkins at this point because you can do it, no doubt. It's gonna be safe and it's gonna be nice and all that, but you're not certified.
Y'all can't sign off on it.
Nah. So, but why can't you go to the tech school?
Sure.
Get your certification or certificate of training. Certificate don't take long at all. So you can be certified. And that way you can provide, cause I know we got short diplomas here. But they all, got shorts. If anybody here in Waycross was to open a plumber company, they would make a lot of money right now. They would get a lot of business. But we do gotta get more people with their skills on paper so it can be more attractive to businesses. Cause they come here and they put those numbers and they say, oh man, y'all really, and look at education. So out of 14,000 people, y'all got 100 master's degrees. So now we got to come here and train the whole workforce versus have some trained people ready to go. So that's part of it. That goes with what Mr. Simmons said about the community got to be for the community. And we got to start pushing these young people, many of y'all are seasoned and y'all live life and y'all good to go, you work hard. So you're in the twilights, young people don't work as hard. And then unfortunately they understand that it's going to get real bad for them if they don't really start working harder. And they have opportunities here. They got in some of the schools, it's not all the schools, in some of the schools it's free. But I'm gonna stop because I don't want to let my staff over talk to me because I do it all the time. So Mark, just a little bit about, like, if people would just get certified, it'd make all our jobs easier.
Yeah, so like the city manager said, we do have a shortage of trade people. And I run into, plumbers, electricians, heat and air companies, contractors every day that are looking for employees and nobody wants to do that work. Well, right now, 20 years ago when I was doing plumbing electrical, a service call was $20. Now it's over $100 an hour, and in a few years it's going to be even more. So people look at it as blue collar, but they're going to be making $100,000 plus $200,000 a year in the next couple of years. But they need to. I agree with the city manager. We need to get with our technical college and have them teach classes to help them get this and prepare them for the test that they have to take to get state license, so that they can come back and do that. But we have, every day I've got contractors asking, hey, do you know anybody that wants to work? And they're older contractors, so they're looking for somebody to train. So that's things that we need to start talking to our young kids about. Not everybody's cut out for college, not everybody, and you don't have to be. And being a plumber electrician, I've got family that does it. I did it. It's a great job that it can provide, and it's making more now than some doctors and other places for people. So, and we need that. Another thing for industry is we've got to have affordable housing in Waycross for industries to come here. There's a stigma around affordable housing or what they call workforce housing. And a lot of people here think that workforce housing equates to Section 8 housing. That's not true. Some of the classes that I've gone to, over 90% of the people in Waycross, Ware County would qualify for workforce housing because of our income levels here. So it's not, workforce housing is not a bad word. It's not the old Section 8 or some of these other things that, you know, the stigma from the 80s and the 70s that we've got. And we've got to start training and looking at these affordable housing units in a different light, because that's what it's going to take. And you've got older people that are wanting to downsize so that they don't have to take care of their yards. We've got these affordable housing units. We've got a development coming right behind Ware Manor. It's 52 apartments. It's workforce housing. So it's not Section 8. It won't be vouchers or anything like that, like the old. But it's for people that are downsizing, older people, people that are just starting out, that can't afford. We've got 20 to 30-year-old people still living with parents because they can't afford stuff in Waycross or across the state and across the country. That's where workforce housing comes in. So we've got to educate the citizens to realize that workforce housing is not a bad thing. That it's not Section 8. It's not, you know, the old Bailey Street, the old Garlington, or any of that. This is housing that all of us would live in and live next to each other. So we've got to have some of that to come to Waycross so we can bring some of that industry, because some of these industries will bring some of their people with them, and if we don't have the housing for it, they're going to look at the next community.
And that's back to the tax law. I'm gonna turn to Mr. Simmons, but one more last point. So I'm the chief executive officer of City Hall. A plumber makes more than I make right now. I'm just using that as an example. No, I'm serious. That needs to be known if you really want to think about it in context of responsibility and pay scale. And I'm not backing off my salary. It's just showing you how much plumbers can actually make when they are trained and certified. And I was talking to a young man at Turner School last week. Not Turner School. I never said the name right. Used to be the Turner School. Yeah, but young man, like, hey, why don't you go to the trade school and become a plumber? Yeah. And of course, don't want to do that because it's whatever. I said, but I'm telling you, that's a good salary for you, and you can still live here, build your home here, and you can go serve in these other communities around Waycross, Ware County. They need plumbers too. But Mr. Simmons,
I just wanted to mention a couple of things as far as economic development. One of the things, I'm also in charge of tourism, and one of the things, Swamp Park is, applied for the World Heritage Designation. Should know that this summer, whether they get it or not, and that'll put that Swamp Park on the level of the Empire State Building, the Statue of Liberty, Grand Canyon. So all of those visitors from around the world, they check off visiting the World Heritage. So there's more people coming into the community, more people buying gas, shopping at restaurants, eating at restaurants, shopping at our stores, which leads to growth. And I tell people, anytime you see a hotel going up in the community, that's a good thing, because that means there are people coming into town, which buy, which contribute, taxes, which makes it lower for us. So those are always good things. Another thing, just the rate of test. My department, we're working on our economic development certification, so we can assist the development authority with attracting businesses, and also make sure that the city offers the things that we can offer that will help attract. So we know how to put that package together. So when the industry X is coming to town, we know what to offer. But I do know too, the development authority is working on some announcements, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 months. We'll start seeing some of those announcements come to fruition. Industries coming to town. It should be a few hundred jobs that should be available soon.
And to add this to, at my next meeting, I'm going to invite someone for the development authority as well as the housing authority, because I have some concerns with the special housing authority. They'll be present at that time to answer questions.
and I'm gonna let I want Chief Cox to piggyback on the commissioner. 'Cause I know there's still some concerns about policing in certain areas. I want you to be clear, because we do still have some serious issues with our drugs and our gangs, and it's another area that you can't see really. You don't see the work behind the scenes, and I get calls all the time. I ask people to come talk to me face to face about these subjects, because we're doing a lot of good work, taking a lot of drugs off the street, a lot of guns off the street. Now, it's unfortunate that sometimes the one person with the gun penalizes everybody, but that's just life, when you have these big parties and stuff like that. But we are doing some unseen work. And then the next part of that, because I want both chiefs to be here without saying anything, with our fires. We have an uptick in fires in the last 6 months maybe, for a lot of reasons. These older homes, and I just want Chief Blackburn just kind of go over, because you might notice either we can come in there, inspect your homes, make sure that you're ready for a fire, you know. And I think a lot of people don't know that. And the other thing with the fires, you know, it don't take, because these houses are old in the wood. I think it take a minute and 30 seconds. It don't take long. So although they might get there, you know, in some cases they're just there to prevent the fire from jumping somewhere else, and they're not going to save the home. But I'm gonna turn to Chief Cox.
So anytime I have an opportunity to share some good news, I definitely will. And so we do talk about, you know, some of the issues and with the drugs, and one of our primary things that we've really been focused on is youth violence. And a lot of our programs now, our community outreach, if you notice, is very, very centered on youth. We do a junior police academy every year. Last year we had about 90 kids that spent the whole week with us. We got our junior auxiliary unit. So every time that is where we put a lot of our focus on, because there's so much, violent acts have been committed by our youth inside. And when I say youth, I'm talking about 14, 15, 16-year-olds. And so that's been our primary focus. But I think the work and everything that we've been trying to work, and so I'm going to share these numbers. I actually posted these on our Facebook page the other day. So from 2024 to 2025, we have seen a 33% decrease in our serious violent major property crimes inside the city. Violent acts with weapons are down about 36%. All other crimes are down close to 10%. Stolen property, 47.5%. Our average response time inside the city of Waycross, if you call us, it's going to take us about 2 minutes and 47 seconds to get to you. And our accidents are down close to 10%. Now, the thing about when you share numbers like this, sometimes people reach out to you. Like, as soon as I gave these numbers, newspaper reached out to me and said, okay, those are your 1-year numbers. Do you have anything else? I said, well, I'll give you some 5-year numbers if you like. So I went back and pulled the data on those. And I'm glad to announce the 5-year numbers in several areas look even better than those numbers I just shared with you right then. The only thing over 5 years that we saw increase was more of your financial type crimes. And the reason why is you have all your online type of fraud going on. And a lot of that stuff, a lot of it we do solve, a lot of it we can't, because it's originating from overseas somewhere. And that's when we get our federal partners involved with us. When it comes to monetary issues, it's the Secret Service that we reach out to. And, you know, they've been pretty straight up forward with us. They said, by the time we find out where they're set up, they've already packed up and have moved to, another location. So some very, very good numbers here. And so we're very proud of those. But when I was asked at the commission meeting or work session, what I think the numbers lie at. And I said, because of the work that patrol and our investigators and all that doing, they put in a lot of long hours, they do a lot of work. I'm not so, Mr. Rayford, well, we are overtime a little bit. With our overtime budget, we kind of went over it. And so we're trying to pull things from different areas to kind of adjust for that. But when asked, why are you running over on overtime, particularly in our with our bison investigations and all that, it's because we're doing a lot of work out there on the street. A lot of work on the street to try to keep some of this stuff from actually happening. And so there's a lot of hours, a lot of times put into that. But the other side of the coin is we have a community that's working with us. Commissioner Simmons said something similar. We're only as successful as the community allows us to be. Well, that's particularly true when it comes to law enforcement. If we don't have a community that is participating with us, we're not going to get good results. And so that's why we always preach first and foremost, we're gonna be professionals whenever we're out on the street doing our business. And, but then we also promote, be a professional, but also have some sociability skills. And so we're making those connections, and we have those connections, and we have those, and create those friendships. Now you got willing partners in the community that's willing to call upon you and say, hey, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. You know, do something about it. Well, since you're passing this information on to you, absolutely. You know, we've got a partner there, and now we're aware of things that we may not have been aware of in the past. So these numbers are reflective of the community in a whole working as a team. Yes.
Some people want to call and think, sometimes I want to tell the person.
Yeah.
It's ways to communicate with.
So, yeah, so we have something called community automated tip line also. It's 912-287-2924. You can call them and remain anonymous. Our investigators check it every morning as soon as they get to work. Sometimes people's got a tip for us, willing to share information. Sometimes they'll leave their name and phone number. Yeah, call me back. But you can also, if anybody calls 911, all they have to do is remain. They can tell them that they want to remain anonymous. And even if you call 911, you will remain anonymous. Because I hear officers all the time, "Ready, you got a phone number? I can call back and speak with the complainant." And the response is they wanted to remain anonymous. And that's pretty much where the rest of that point. And so, but and plus for non-emergency issues, Mr. Rayford was speaking about the app. We occasionally get a response from our app. For something that may be minor, like there's a vehicle that's been abandoned parked on the side of the road for X number of times, okay, we'll get that checked out. You don't use it for something like, hey, I'm hearing gunshots behind my house. Because we're probably not going to get that complaint till the next day. And so please use 911, but the app's there, our community automated tip line is there. I have people reach out to me on Facebook Messenger all the time. We got a Wake Cross Police Facebook page. And so I get complaints through that. And since I control our Facebook page, then as soon as I get it, I pass it on to the appropriate section and make sure it's taken care of.
My name is Betsy Schuyler, and my concerns, first of all, this is a totally different thing. I have a house right next to Peachwood Apartments, and last year I had a tree company to come and cut down a big tree that's in the front of my yard. And then I asked him how much would he charge to cut down some more trees that's on the other side of the yard. He told me that belonged to the city, and that he would cut the trees down because it belonged to the city. He told me to get in touch with the city, but I called and I called. I called and I called. They send me to this department, that department, leave your name. I could get in touch with Trump quicker than I could with somebody down there. Keep calling. Nobody never has ever returned my calls at all. My concern is that that's on the corner right there by Carter City. If one of those branches falls over into the highway, they could easily hurt somebody. So that's why I want to get those trees cut down, get them removed so nobody won't get hurt. Another thing, I know in Jacksonville, news reporters, when the news reporters was here a while back, and they was talking about the old rundown houses and stuff like that. But my sister, that's our home house, and she had a major stroke about 9-10 years ago, and she's living with her daughter out of town. So that house has really gone down. I'm not working anymore. I don't have the finance to really fix it up like I would like for it to be done. I definitely would. So I know during the time that the news reporters was here, the city manager, you had spoke with them and you said something about there's people that's willing to come out and help to do whatever. I went to your office and your secretary got my information because I just wanted to know was that whoever these people are, if they could just help me do a facelift, because that house is on the main highway. If they could just help me do a facelift to make it look better just from the outside, not worry about the inside. Another thing that I have concerns about, I live in Reagan Circle. And Commissioner, I'm glad to hear you mention Reagan Circle. I live in Reagan Circle. And as you come in Reagan Circle and turn right, as you go down that area, that's the daylight, that's the daytime. Because we keep it nice and clean. As you come around that curve, it's nice and clean. But as you go around to the back side of Reagan Circle, I call that night side. Because that's where it's dirty. And I have sat on my porch and I have watched the UPS truck try to go around that curve, and they couldn't, because there's people out there who live in one apartment, have 3 cars, SUVs. One of the girls told me as you go further around the curve, one guy lived there with 4 vehicles. They park all in the road until you can't even go around there. I watched the UPS man. Sometimes the fire truck have been out there. They literally have to just kind of squeeze their way through there. And when I talked to the housing authority about it, they said they couldn't do anything that belonged to the city. The city would have to be the one to tell those people they cannot double park or triple park out in that road like that. Another concern is behind me, the park. And the park that they just built is very nice back there, very nice. But as you go back there where Morton Avenue School is, all those big, tall bushes, overgrown bushes and trees right behind the school. Sometimes you can sit and you see people going behind those bushes, you don't know what they're doing. Sometimes at night you get gunshots. That's the ideal place to hide. If I was going to shoot a gun and I'd jump behind those bushes because you can't see anybody. I would like for that to be cleaned up. Even if that's St. John's property, they should cut all those trees, everything should be visible back there where you can see. And those are my main concerns. Thank you.
I'm gonna ask a few of them, but. So we'll check on the tree on Quarterly property. So we got that, and we'll check on that. With the blighted properties, it's a whole big discussion on the blighted properties. We can't go on anybody's property and just cut their stuff or do it. It's against the law. The properties that we are working, once we get taken to court and get everything done, then we can go to properties and manage the vegetation, but that's still like a 12-month process. If another owner comes in and they find an error and they come in and we've done something, they can actually sue us. So it's a real tight rope with all these blighted properties. And with the blighted property, because you make a great example, we got to figure out how to get properties from getting there. So, because once they get there, it's almost impossible to catch up. A lot of homes here, they don't have heirs, they don't have deeds, they don't have wills, they don't have anything. And then when the owner transitions, it's just there. And then the city, and we got to go through hoops and hurdles to find out who owns this property. Now everybody's yelling at us to clean it up. But again, legally, we cannot go touch the property because it belongs to somebody. They might not know it, but there's an error out there. So, and that's another thing about education. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to explain that better because the property, we got over 500 properties that we are managing right now that we've done the legal aspect on. We either knocked down or we found an owner who in that phase. But the rest of these properties, like I said, they do have owners, and we just can't go on their land and just, no matter how bad it looks in some cases, I mean, we can find them. And this is another thing about the codes. I think it's once we take them to Forest of Blight and they pay that fine, it starts over again for another year. And then we're doing the same thing again. That's one of those things that I've talked to Ms. Hawkins, he's trying to figure out a better way to do it, and we're gonna present it to the commission. So not to make excuses, but it is a legal aspect to all of that stuff with the blighted properties. With your particular house, I remember you came up there with her. What Mrs. Simmons is gonna do, just make sure she signs up for the April cleanup. So in April we have 2 groups, and I don't know if they normally can't do more than 10 houses on, but they might do more depending on what it is. So make sure you sign up for that, and it's just a facelift. In other situations, we have volunteers that come over, you know, I just show what we got going on. Sometimes they do it, I don't know. Sometimes they call me know, and I help out sometimes. Some young men within the community, they just did a property on Sweat Street, I think, maybe Friday. So a bunch of volunteers came there. It was Sweat Street.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it was Sweat Street. Older couple, they can't clear themselves, so they went over there. I want to say we got like maybe 5 bins of trash and stuff. It needs some more because that home has a lot of neglect out there. I think they come back next Friday, but it was so much this first time, it took them a while. So we do that. And this is again one of those situations everybody can't see, but since you know, and I'm not like to my horn, but that group that I kind of met when I first got here, they cleaned up probably about 50 properties on their own within this community, with these communities, you know, but you never see them. They just go over there and pick our trash up. I put a dumpster bin there for them, and then we take it away because we recognize in some cases people can't clean their houses up. And that's the other part of compassion that I'm trying to explain, you know, to the residents that is complaining about stuff. The owner is 95 years old. They have nobody else. We have a heart. We're trying to really figure this out for them. But it's difficult, you know, because it's always a legal aspect of stuff. But we'll address these issues you did mention about the trees. Definitely with the housing authority. I know Chief Council been there before already. I think Mark been there a couple times already, so I'm aware of that. We'll take a look at it again. And this is another, I keep pushing the app. But sometimes you guys stay on top of us. I'm just being honest. We got a lot of stuff going on. If you call, the person sitting there might write it down, or if they write it down, it's only one admin person per department like that. And that's a lot for them to do. They do other stuff too that you can't see. But that app keeps it in the system. And that way I get an email for everything in the app. And I follow up on the app once a week too. I go back and look. Did we do this? Did we do that? It also keeps track of how many weeks have gone by that we didn't do anything. So we got called in on February 5th, and now it's March 5th, it'll let me know. You know, for the last 4 weeks, we haven't done anything with that issue. They answer all your questions to make sure, like, comments or maybe not.
Yes, you did. You did, and I appreciate it. And I understand it. You know, you're busy, there's other people that you're working with as well. But while I was sitting here thinking, I was thinking too about, you remember when I asked you to come in my backyard and stand and look out at the park. When I had asked them, what was that, last year to come and clean the park up, the overgrown trees and the bushes. I just happened to be sitting on my back porch that day when I seen a man come and sit in between the bushes where a tree, it was a tree, and there was some thick bushes, and he actually sat in those bushes, and he was able to watch those kids. That's when I first got in touch with the city and asked them to please come and trim. You know, they came, but they did a half-done job. You know, they didn't clean it like they should have. I would be able to sit on my back porch and I could look out and I could see all the way down, coming up to Morton Avenue Street and going back to Marion Street. It's bushes and stuff that need to be cut down. Behind my backyard, there's trees. There's about 3 very thick wires, some kind. I don't know what kind of pole wires they are, but they're so low. And when I talk to somebody, they always put it on the city. They say it's the city job. The city got to come and cut the trees down and take care of it. I don't know if those are live wires or what. I can reach them.
So
if I can reach them, a child can easily reach them.
So can I say something to that? Because a lot of times, you know, we do have some irresponsible landlords around here. And they most often, they always say that's the city problem. I hear that all the time. It's, you know, I get frustrated too, because they own some of those properties. They've had these issues, you know, we constantly going up, you know, fighting these individuals all the time, because they don't want to maintain their stuff. And I think that's a whole other big problem, and I don't want to put out here. But we'll circle back. Mr. Strickland will take it back and talk to the public works director. They'll come back and look at it again. But bigger picture, this is, I was gonna say at the end, when we talk about taxes. We are a community that, we generate very little revenue, and that's not revenue for the city, so that the police and the fire department pay their employees, it comes through taxes. So we don't have a big tax bracket. So every day we gotta make a decision on what to focus on. And right now, versus, I'm not minimizing what you're running up, ma'am, a lot of aesthetic stuff is gonna take secondary to a lot of functional operational stuff. So, when all that was going on, we had the issue with the canal. And I chose to, hey, we clean this canal up because, a couple of homes got flooded and we gotta fix that. And I pushed Public Works that direction. Now that's done, but it took a lot of work. We lost some equipment in the process, so I think we got new equipment now, but it took a lot of man hours to do all that. But that became priority, so, and we got multiple priorities. Not trying to minimize anybody else's concerns or, questions, but sometimes because of our budget, we can only do so much at a time. The good thing is the canal is pretty much done as far as that. Take a lot of effort from my Public Works to do. That's like an everyday thing. Getting it cleaned out, clean out the weak points, the stop points, all those things. Even with the paving, we got a lot of stuff that we have to deem a higher priority than aesthetics. But we'll look at it next week when they come in. Once they're in that zone, I'm not sure what the area is. They'll come look at it and they'll do what they can do. But if it's on private property, we just can't go on there. I know that church or school, whatever it is, that belongs to somebody, and I gotta see what happened with that. We just, people often, when we try to do the right thing, they try to sue us, if that makes sense. So in my IT, when I first got here, I was a little bit not understanding that process. So I'm thinking I'm doing the right thing, and then people wait for me to do the right thing and they sue us, So I gotta be really careful about how we definitely blight properties. I've learned my lesson over the last few years about that. So, but we'll take it back for you, and then we'll make sure we follow up with you next week.
Okay, last thing.
Mm-hmm.
If y'all could put a big, huge sign, the new park they built behind River Circle, people take their dogs in the park. And I'm not talking about like little tiny puppies, these are big dogs that they take inside there. And I don't think the dogs should be inside.
I think, Michelle, you want a dog park? Did you want? I can't remember. Did you want a dog park over there? No. Okay. I'm sorry. They tell you stuff sometimes, like all at the same time, and it feels
Former commissioner who's gonna put a dog.
Oh, okay.
And I had asked her if she did put it all the way
On the backside. I remember that. Yeah, we put a sign up, but that's gonna be hard to prevent. I'll be honest with you, because by the time we get there, we gotta talk about the dog. They use the bathroom, they gone. So more likely what we need to do is put up trash bags so people can get behind themselves, because that normally helps the problem more than anything else. We'll put a sign up from there.
And real quick before Chief Blackburn. The reason I mentioned I was gonna ask the Housing Authority when I was campaigning, not only Reagan Circle, but one of Chico, I saw some other concerns besides, I didn't know about the parking issue, but I saw some other concerns which I felt the Housing Authority should be addressing. So that's the reason I wanted them at the next meeting, so they can hear your concerns also. That's just my opinion, but I just saw some things that.
And I mean, while you're still on the same topic, Brandon Ison Street, behind that, the stadium, the bank across the street, my house. I got more leaves now than the 30 years I've been here. That's because the bank has their side line with trees that end up inside my house. That means that tree limbs, the trucks come down Hyson Street and they hit not the tree limbs down. All right, so the bank just puts the trees back up and the trucks come down the street and knock them back down again. Their debris ends up in my house because they're in my driveway. And I don't understand why is it that I have to be punished because of where they decide to be. And that's an ongoing thing. As far as the people cleaning up behind their animals, you can forget about that. You can forget about that. But And I'm glad that Mr. Simmons came out of retirement because he takes, I know for a fact he takes care of things. The lots on my side of the street, on Highsmith, is clean. It wasn't clean before. So now you can see straight through. So like I said, I'm glad that he came out of retirement. In fact, he broke my heart when he retired. But I'm glad he came out of retirement. And there's constant things going on that are being violated by some city employees. And I go, don't you work for the city? Then why are you throwing your garbage in my yard when you go to the stadium? I'm at the stadium's garbage. I don't get it. But they do it anyway. So you put signs. No trash, keep out, no parking. They ignore it. And I'm like, I don't get it. You're an employee of the city. And you asking me if it's okay, and I put a sign up and say, no. Do you understand what no means? So I don't get it. So it's like I'm a big kid.
So let me address that real fast, just so if any employees, just get the license number of the vehicle and let us know. And then we'll handle that. Because as Chief Cox said, by professionalism, that's expected for all city employees, not just the police. Everybody responds the same way. And I know sometimes, I'm gonna say this too, depending on what's going on, it can be 130 degrees outside and the citizens is yelling and cussing, they might break a little bit. But I need people to understand that too. They probably been cussed out 3 or 4 times that day. So I do ask for a little bit of grace in some situations because we get it back just as bad. But again, just you can use the app, take a picture of your phone, the license plate, you gotta save everything when they leave, and just send to my office, or you can contact any directors, and then we'll go from there. With the dogs, I want to let the fire chief talk real fast. This goes back in to change some of the policies and procedures. So the commission did direct us to come up with a better plan for animal management. So we're all looking at registration and chipping. But again, that does have a cost, a slight cost. And we're going to discuss that after we come out of the retreat. So.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to take a minute to address something that Pastor White had said. There seems to be a stigma when it comes to the city about it not being a good place to work. Back in the summer, I give a hiring test, had 10 people apply, which is the most we've had in recent years for 5 positions, but half of those are from out of town. And I'm not understanding why, and I know everybody don't want to be a firefighter or a police officer, but we got to get that word out that the city is a good place to work. I'm a 2nd generation city employee. My dad was the police chief here, a police officer for over 36 years. April, I'll start my 36th year here in the city. The city is a good place to work. I've been very fortunate. My daughter is a school teacher in our local school system, and my son actually works for Chief Cox as a police officer. We got to get through that and encourage our young people and let them know that the city is a good place to work in any department that you want to work in. And just to prove that point, myself and Chief Cox and Patrick, I know we're all byproducts of our local community. We've grown up here. We played football in the stadium. We're products of the local school system. So, good things can happen to you being local and staying local and doing, we just got to get that encouragement out to our young people. But one thing about growth is, one thing that we got to remember when things grow, services have to grow as well. The bigger Waycross gets, the bigger we want to get. It's going to require another fire station down the road. It's going to require more police officers, more public works, more people doing codes. So that always has to be factored in when we're talking about growth and how much growth we want. So, but one thing about the fires, we have had an increase in fires. A lot of them's been abandoned buildings. So I encourage you, if you live next to an abandoned house or abandoned structure, if you see people coming in and out of that structure that don't belong there, we have to involve our law enforcement partners. We have to call 911. The thing that started years ago was see something, say something. You got to tell somebody so we can stop it where there and they don't ever set a fire. A fire recently we had in this neighborhood was an abandoned building where there were some people staying in it that shouldn't be, and that were warming themselves using a fish cooker and a gas grill. It started the fire. If somebody would have just said something that would have involved law enforcement, code enforcement, then we probably could have prevented that from happening. So we just encourage you to be involved in your community, and if you see something, say something. And as far as your own home, we offer a free program. We will come put up a smoke detector and do a quick inspection of your house for free. All you have to do is call our office. Our front office will line it up. One of the trucks will come out. A group of firefighters will come out, put you up a smoke detector, talk to you about fire safety in your home at absolutely no charge. We only done 77. We did 77 of those last year. I actually feel like we should be doing 177. Because not only will we do a smoke detector, we'll just come change your battery. We'll just come talk to you. If that's all you want us to do, we'll be glad to do it. Just know that the fire department's here and we're absolutely involved in the community.
And let me ask this way, city administrator. We had this thing about being a snitch. When it's your neighborhood, you're not a snitch. You're concerned about your neighborhood. And as they spoken in and said, it's anonymous. It's not like you're gonna put your name up on the billboard or it's gonna be on City Waycross website, no. But it's your community. And like I tell people when I was running, if you don't tell me what's going on in your neighborhood, I could get around, but I can't see everything. So if you call me and tell me, I don't know.
And with those abandoned properties, so when we do go to those homes, the first thing is to talk to those people in there and get them help too. So we when the cold months of February, we already know we got some unhoused citizens. We try our best to get them to the police courtroom. I know it's some stigmatism about coming there to the courtroom, but I mean, we actually sit there with them, just to show them, it's like a safe space for them. Now we only have I've never seen more than 7 people in there when it's cold. And then there's others out here in these homes, but they don't have to be there. So when you are calling the police or the fire department on them, it's for help. And they can just look at this person trying to take advantage of the situation. We actually want to help them. And then prevent the fires, get them out the cold, and then get them help. Because a lot of them, they need medical help, they need mental help, they need a lot of stuff. And sometimes they don't know, that the help is available to them. I try to put that a lot about working with the churches, much as we can, because we want to prevent all that, because it actually saves us. Talk about overtime, I hate to make it about money, but that's part of it. They out here certain things, and we could get away from that. We could help them there, save us money to do other things. And I want to say one last thing. I know I've been talking a lot, but I want to make sure everybody leave. This is very important. The commissions, some of them are traveling next week, and once they get back, we're gonna have our meeting the last weekend of this month, regular meeting. But one of the agenda items is gonna talk about the proposal, House Bill, I think it's 1116. I think they call it right now. It's just changed pretty much every other day now. I went to training like last week, and I sat the whole day just on the House Bill, and I've been tracking it. And this is one of those areas where the residents do their own research because it's being pushed through. We know it's an election year. We know typically the people in power, they struggle doing midterms. They're really struggling right now. And they're putting this out here, and it is shining. Hey, we're gonna get rid of property tax, we're gonna cap property tax. And I know some of you own your homes already, so I know hearing that, oh, but that's great for me. I gotta pay this $3,000 a year that I pay for property taxes for the city. And Chief Blackburn kind of touched on that. All their staff, well, 8% of their staff are paid through sales tax and property tax. That's how we fund them. And their retirement, some of their retirement, but the benefits package, the insurance, all those things. That's how they're funded. So although it looks good on the surface, they're gonna vote this pretty soon. We're really kind of behind the power curve on already. Because if you read the House bill, I really encourage y'all to read it because it talks about consumption taxes. Does everybody know what consumption tax is? It's a tricky word. That's alcohol license, that's business license. We're gonna destroy the business community and make this money back. And they also talking about we'll make another sales tax. Yeah, most residents, y'all already mad about the sales tax now, because you can't really see where that goes. If we got to rely on that sales tax to fund services, it won't happen, And we're gonna have a difficult decision maker trying to make it take effect in 27. So you're gonna even talk to the commission about this during the meeting. We might put something out this week about this. We're gonna cut services. That's the bottom line. So it's not like it ain't even a hard decision, So But if you don't make your, and of course, your commissioner got 2 commissioners here now, but your commissioner is here for you to voice that. But more than just talking to them, talk to your state people too. They're the ones pushing this. Like, hey, so how are they gonna fund the services that I use every day? How's that gonna work? And that's not being said right now. So like I said, it looks shiny on the outside, but it's not. It's a polished rotten egg. And I'm saying that because we can't be friendly about the conversation. We gotta be real about this stuff because it's gonna affect a lot of people. Now this is, maybe the county assumes all their cities and digs out the money. In certain situations that might work. Some of the bigger cities, but all these small little places, we're not gonna be able to do that. So I just on top of that, like I said, we put out a report once a month. Once a week, you see our little budget presentations, like a little slide that says, this is what your tax dollars are paying, y'all. If you get our report, you'll see that. And it also comes through the app and the text. But, I need the residents to start understanding that, how we pay for city services. We struggle now because we have not made adjustments with inflation. So normally cities use the CPI, Consumer Price Index, and stuff automatically go up with that. But and it's an increment, so that's like a big thing. When I first got here, I don't know if y'all remember that conversation about the water rates. And I know we haven't raised water rates in 18 years at that point, it'd be a long time. And our water and sewer is a problem here because it's outdated and we're trying to catch up, but we don't have the money, we don't have the money. And we're dealing with inflation, and it become an expectation for the city to eat all the costs, and we just can't do that anymore. So some other things coming up too. I just ask you to talk to your commissioners when they get back from training, sometime next week, and the next meeting, after that meeting, really get with them. I'm gonna give them some additional information about the property tax increase, some other proposals, but you can look this stuff up too on your own. You can use AI platforms if you're not really familiar with these things. You can just put it in what do you want me to say? Just stick it in there. What do you understand? It'll kind of give you a down to earth understanding of some things you might not regularly have knowledge of. But I'm saying this because it's very important. Because you got to think 2027 is not that far away, and I would be, as a city manager, might be here, might not by that time. But it'd be injustice if I don't alert the commission right now, because we're gonna start making staff cuts immediately. And nobody wants to say that out loud, but we can't wait till 2027 to try to figure stuff out. We have capital projects going on. We got to start adjusting our budget right now for that moment. But if residents don't speak up, and again, your city commission knows about this, and they're gonna be here for you to listen. I don't think the state does. That's my problem with the state. I'm not trying to be negative or not a team player, but we really talk to them. So they work for you too. I mean, the commission works for you here in the city. The county actually works for you as far as those taxes. And them state reps. You can look their names up, but we gotta be more voiceful of what's going on. And if there is a solution that we don't know about, they need to say it. Because a consumption tax or another type of sales tax or what do you call it? So many is not gonna work right now. And I'm gonna do a presentation for the commission to show them because it's different variables in there. In some cases, it'll be a 5 or 3% cap on property taxes. I can understand that. If you pay for your house, and when we do reassessment and as far as the millage rate, if we want to raise more than 3%, we should do a vote. So I can have that makes sense to me, But we've been rolling it back. I don't know everybody know what I mean when I say roll it back. Does everybody know what that? If you don't, stick it in the AI chat so you can really understand what I'm talking about. Rolling the millage rate back. It'll give you a whole bunch of definitions of what that really means for city operations. It's very important that everybody starts to get that because the commission's going to have some hard decisions. Either way it goes, if this doesn't pass, with the way they're trying to figure out this inflation, something that's going to happen. And we don't want nobody to be blindsided. That's what I'm trying to say. So again, back to the first comment about we only have maybe 3% of the residents really tracking what's going on, and I get it. Some people are in a knife fight every day, so they can't worry about this stuff like this. But you need to. This is your tax office. This is your staff. Got great staff. We'll figure it out. I mean, where we got to cut, we'll cut. It might be city manager. Who knows? We'll cut that because some essential staff are more important, not more important, or more critical than others. So we got to figure all that out. But I went fast on that part. I know some people left already, and I'm gonna do like a small post just to kind of let people know what's kind of going on, where to find the information that, for the house bills. I just encourage everybody to look that up.
And, I want to say this too. Can we give an applause to Jim for coming? I saw the believe that, a business meeting, it should stay with somewhere within an hour. That's just me. I believe that. And, we're gonna have another one on the 29th, but I want to ask everyone if they have a closing comment before we go. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for caring enough to come out and be concerned about your community. This is your community. This is your city. We just the ones that in the limelight, as I say, what's going on. This your city. And so, for myself, I'm available to you at any time, except when it's God's time. Amen.
You know, one last time, Tommy Cox, my office is your office. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to come by and see me. Thank you.
Again, I think that goes for all of us. Our doors are always open. We're here to serve you guys, to work with you guys, and like was said earlier, I think most of us here, and we're born and raised here, want to see Waycross grow and do great things. We want to help people. We want to bring things here. So we just want the citizens to buy in with us and move that direction. And again, it goes back to, if you see something, say something. Whether it's crime related, fire related, code related, anything, if you see something, say something. It's most important.
Just thank you all for coming out, and we're gonna try our best to get all the issues brought up today, assessed and knocked out. And if you can't get a hold of us on the phone at Public Works, we're always out in the field, but most of the time we have a secretary at 639 Satilla Lane. Come by, she'll talk to you, take anything down, and pass it along to whoever, and we'll make sure we send someone out as soon as possible.
Thank you, gentlemen. As I said, thank you so much for coming. The next meeting is April 29th at 6 o'clock at the venue, the Stevens venue on State Street. I'm going to be doing that in conjunction with Commissioner Alan Nelson. Tell the community we have this meeting. Encourage them to come out. And I'll say this. This is for District 2, but this is for everybody. If you live in another district, you want to come to me, I'm happy. Come, because the gentleman going to answer the same questions for you they're going to ask for District 2. So it's for everyone. But I thank you so much. I thank you for your support. And as I promised, I'll be there for you. And if you need a card from me before we leave, I have cards. Thank you so much.